Libra, tomorrow is not just another day. The universe is literally staging a massive intervention in your love life, and that call or message you've been staring at your phone for. It is coming. But here is the twist that's going to make your heart drop. This isn't just a casual hey or a boring check-in. This person is breaking their own silence because they can no longer handle the weight of what they're hiding from you. There is a massive, life-altering confession attached to this message, and once you hear it, the entire dynamic between you two shifts forever. Before we dive into exactly what they are going to say and why they are finally breaking, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And make sure you hit that subscribe button to lock in this energy. Let's get into it. Libra, the energy surrounding you right now is so incredibly dense, so heavy, that you can practically feel it pressing against your chest. You have been enduring this agonizing period of waiting, this stretch of silence where it feels like you are carrying the entire weight of the connection on your shoulders. As a Libra, you are naturally wired to seek balance, to keep the peace, and to ensure that everything is fair and harmonious. But right now, the scales are completely tipped. You have been doing all the emotional heavy lifting, analyzing every past interaction, wondering if you said too much or if you didn't say enough. You've been looking at the silence and interpreting it as a final answer. You've been telling yourself, maybe they've moved on. Maybe I need to let this go. But what I'm picking up on is that this silence is a complete and total illusion. Behind the scenes, in the unseen realms of their energy, it is absolute, unadulterated chaos. This person is not at peace. They're not out living their best life, completely unbothered and free of you. In fact, the exact opposite is true. They're obsessing. They're pacing. They're staring at their phone, typing out a message to you, and then deleting it over and over again. The energetic cord between you two is pulled so tight right now that it's practically vibrating. Here is the first major emotional shift you need to understand. While you have been feeling abandoned and questioning your own worth, this person has been entirely consumed by a magnetic, almost suffocating fixation on you. They cannot escape your energy. Every time they try to distract themselves, your face pops into their mind. Every time they try to rationalize walking away, their chest tightens with this profound, aching sense of longing. You are haunting them, Libra. In the most beautiful, karmic way possible. You are the ghost that refuses to leave their mind. But why? Why are they so utterly incapable of letting you go, yet they remain frozen in this standoff? Here's the thing. You awaken something deeply profound within them. Before they met you, they were operating on autopilot. They were comfortable in their emotional immaturity, hiding behind their ego and avoiding true vulnerability. But your energy, your grace, your intuition, your deep capacity for love, and your unshakable sense of self acted like a mirror to their soul. You showed them what real, divine partnership looks like, and in doing so, you exposed every single one of their unhealed wounds. And this brings us to the painful truth of their inner conflict. Their distance from you has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of love, and everything to do with their own paralyzing fear. They are terrified of you. Not in a literal sense, but they are terrified of how much power you hold over their heart. They are terrified of their own feelings because they don't know how to process them. When they look at you, they see the person they are supposed to be, and it makes them feel incredibly inadequate. So, what do? They run. They pull away. They build walls of ice and act completely detached, hoping that if they shut you out, they can shut down these overwhelming emotions. They are playing this exhausting game of pride. They want you to chase them. They want you to break the silence first because their ego is fragile and they are desperate for validation. They want to feel needed, but they are too proud to admit that they are the one who is starving for your attention. It is a toxic cycle of avoidance, and for a while, it seemed like they were winning. They thought they could outwait you. They thought that if they stayed silent long enough, you would eventually break and come crawling back. But here is where the energy drastically shifts, and the old cycle finally begins to crumble. They miscalculated your energy. They thought you would beg, but instead, you started to pull back. You started to focus on yourself. You started to glow up, energetically and spiritually. You stopped checking their social media. You stopped waiting by the phone. You started to reclaim your power, and that is when the panic set in. Suddenly, the silence wasn't a power move anymore. It became a prison. They realized that by trying to control the narrative, they were actually losing you. The jealousy started creeping in. The fear of seeing you move on with someone else became a physical pain in their chest. They started seeing synchronicities everywhere. 11:11 on the clock, 222 on license plates, hearing songs that remind them of you. The universe started turning up the heat, applying this divine pressure that made it impossible for them to ignore the truth any longer. They are realizing that their pride is costing them the best thing that ever happened to them. The regret is keeping them awake at night. They are replaying every argument, every cold word, every moment they pushed you away, and they are kicking themselves. They know they messed up. They know they took your patience for granted. And now, the internal pressure has reached an absolute boiling point. They can no longer contain it. The dam is breaking. The need to reach out, to explain, to confess, and to make things right is overriding their ego. Tomorrow, the waiting ends. The message is coming. But you need to understand the sheer magnitude of what they are about to say and the external forces that are trying to sabotage this reunion. Let's talk about the exact moment the dam finally broke, because understanding this catalyst is crucial to knowing how to handle tomorrow. You know that feeling when you're just going about your day, maybe you're making coffee, driving, or just staring out the window, and suddenly you get this intense, unexplained wave of emotion that doesn't even feel like your own? That was them, Libra. That was their chaotic energy violently colliding with your calm. For weeks, this person tried to convince themselves and everyone around them that distance was the right answer. They told their friends they were fine. They posted those subtle, vague stories on social media, trying desperately to project this image of being unbothered, successful, and completely moved on. But behind closed doors, the illusion shattered into a million pieces. Here is the first major emotional shift you need to absorb. The turning point wasn't just them missing you in a nostalgic, passing way. It was a moment of profound, terrifying clarity where they realized their life, without you, feels completely, utterly hollow. They looked at their current reality, at the people they are surrounded by, and they felt absolutely nothing. That profound emptiness scared them to their core. They realized that in trying to protect themselves from the intensity of your connection, they had actually numbed themselves to joy entirely. They were surviving, but they weren't living. And they knew, with absolute certainty, that the only cure for this numbness was you. And you felt it, didn't you? Right before this massive shift happened, your intuition was practically screaming at you. You were having vivid, cinematic dreams about them. You were waking up at 3:33 a.m. with a heavy chest and a racing heart. You kept seeing their initials, their birth date, or angel numbers like 1111 and 222 repeating everywhere you looked. You probably thought you were just being overly nostalgic, or that your brain was playing tricks on you because you wanted them to come back. But no, my love, you were picking up on their energetic download. They were reaching a breaking point, and your soul was acting as the receiver. This is where the dynamic flips, and you must realize your own immense power. You weren't just sitting around passively waiting for them to make a move. Your energetic shift is what actually forced their hand. By pulling your energy back, by setting your boundaries, and by focusing on your own healing, you created a massive energetic vacuum that they were suddenly forced to fill. You didn't chase them, you magnetized them. You showed them what it looks like when a Libra truly reclaims their worth, and the sheer gravity of your self-love pulled them right back into your orbit. So, what is actually going to be in this message or this call tomorrow? Here is the thing. Do not expect a casual, surface-level check-in. Do not expect a simple, "Hey, how are you?" This person is coming to you with their cards completely face up on the table. They are going to confess things they have been far too proud to admit for months. They are going to apologize for the mixed signals, for the hot and cold behavior, and for the times they made you feel like you were crazy for needing more consistency. They are going to admit that every time they pulled away, it felt like they were cutting off their own oxygen. The raw vulnerability in their voice is going to absolutely shock you. The person who acted so cold, so detached, and so incredibly stubborn is going to sound almost desperate, almost childlike in their need for your forgiveness. They're going to strip away all their defenses and admit that their avoidance was never about you not being enough. It was about them feeling entirely unworthy of the depth, the grace, and the profound love that you offer. They're going to look you in the eye, or say it through the phone, and tell you that they were terrified of how much they need you. This message is going to lay out their intentions with crystal clarity. They are done playing games. They are done letting their fragile ego dictate their actions. They want to know if the door is still open, if there is still a chance to fix what they broke, and if you are willing to let them step back into your life. But here is the karmic layer to all of this, and this is where it gets really deep. This reconciliation isn't just about getting back together so you can be comfortable. The universe is pushing you two back into each other's orbits because there is unfinished business. There is a heavy karmic contract between you that requires both of you to heal your deepest, darkest wounds. They are coming back to you not just as a lover, but as a mirror to help you finalize your own spiritual evolution. But before they can fully step into that divine role, and before you can accept this apology, there is one massive complication. There is a piece of outside interference, a third-party energy, or a lingering secret that they're about to drag into the light, and it's going to test your newly established boundaries immediately. Libra, I need you to trust your gut right now, because your intuition has been screaming at you about this for weeks. You knew something wasn't adding up. You felt a blockage, a heaviness in the connection that didn't make sense given the profound bond you share. You probably found yourself wondering, if they feel this much for me, why is there still this wall? Why does it feel like there's someone or something standing in the doorway? Well, your intuition was 100% correct. There has been outside interference. Let's be very clear about what this energy is, because the tarot is showing me a very specific dynamic here. This is not necessarily a full-blown, committed new relationship on their end. What I am picking up on is a third-party energy, a lingering shadow, a toxic friend, an ex who refuses to let go, or even a family member who has been whispering poison into their ear. This is someone in their immediate circle who does not understand the sacred, karmic depth of what you two share, and who has been actively, whether consciously or subconsciously, trying to sabotage it. Here is the painful truth they are about to confess. This person allowed that outside voice to get into their head. When the connection between you two became too intense, too real, and too demanding of their emotional growth, they panicked. And in their panic, they retreated to the people who validate their fears. They went to the people who tell them, you're moving too fast, or they're going to hurt you, or you need to focus on practical things, not this overwhelming spiritual connection. For a little while, it worked. This person let the noise drown out their own heart. They let the gossip, the societal expectations, and the fear of judgment dictate their actions. They tried to conform to what was safe and expected rather than what was undeniably true. They tried to convince themselves that this outside perspective was the rational one, and that your deep, intuitive love was just a fantasy. But here is the massive emotional shift that changes everything. The universe does not allow a divine connection to be suffocated by petty interference. The karmic scales always balance. Recently, this person had a moment of absolute, blinding clarity. They saw this outside person for exactly what they are, a distraction, a karmic test, and ultimately, someone who does not have their highest good at heart. They realized that anyone who tries to pull them away from you is operating out of their own jealousy, insecurity, or control. They saw the manipulation for what it was. And more importantly, they realized that listening to these outside voices cost them the most genuine, pure, and transformative love they have ever experienced. The regret over letting someone else's opinion dictate their heart is eating them alive right now. This is why the message is coming tomorrow. It is not just an apology for their silence. It is a full, unapologetic renunciation of that outside energy. They're going to tell you, point blank, that they let people get in their head, that they were a fool to listen to the noise, and that they are actively cutting those toxic ties off as we speak. They are choosing you. They are choosing the truth of your connection over the comfort of their old, misguided loyalties. Now, as a Libra, I know exactly how this lands for you. You value fairness, harmony, and peace above all else. You despise drama, and you absolutely hate feeling like you have to compete for someone's attention or loyalty. Hearing that they let outside influences sway them might initially sting. It might make your famous Libra boundaries snap into place. You might feel a flash of anger, thinking, how could you let them have that much power over us? But I need you to look at this from a higher perspective. This confession is not a reason to run. It is the ultimate proof of their growth. For someone who is deeply conflict avoidant and prone to people-pleasing, admitting that they were manipulated and that they chose the wrong counsel is a massive surrender of their ego. They are laying their deepest shame at your feet because they are terrified of losing you, and they know that total, radical honesty is the only way to rebuild the trust they fractured. They are going to ask you for the opportunity to prove that their loyalty is now exclusively yours. They want to show you that the bridge between you two is stronger than any outside force trying to burn it down. But they also know that the ball is entirely in your court. They know that a Libra who has been disrespected is a Libra who can walk away with their head held high, never looking back. That fear of losing you for good is the exact fuel that is giving them the courage to send this message tomorrow. They are done hiding. They are done letting other people's narratives define their love story. They are stepping into the fire to claim you, fully aware that they have to earn back your trust. But knowing all of this, knowing the confession that is coming and the outside drama they are leaving behind, the real question remains, what are you going to do when that phone finally lights up? How do you hold your power, protect your peace, and navigate this reunion without falling back into old, exhausting patterns? Libra, the timeline for this is not vague. The universe does not deal in vague promises when the karmic pressure is this high. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, that phone is going to light up, or that call is going to come through. And when it does, your stomach is going to drop. But I need you to recognize the difference in the texture of that feeling. This time, it is not the free fall of anxiety, the dread of another mixed signal, or the panic of being ignored. It is the profound, grounding thud of recognition. It is your soul saying, finally, the truth is here. But here is the most critical emotional turn you must prepare for. The moment you see their name, your innate Libra instinct will kick in. Your natural desire for harmony, your deep well of empathy. And your urge to keep the peace will make you want to immediately soothe them. You will want to make it easy for them. You will want to absorb their panic, reassure them that it's okay, and quickly sweep this entire messy situation under the rug just to restore the calm. Do not do this. You are not their emotional rehabilitation center. You are not a safe harbor for them to crash into only when the storm of their own making gets too loud. If you immediately soften the blow and make it easy for them, you teach them that their avoidance has no consequences. You teach them that they can break your heart, disappear, let outside voices poison the well, and still return to find you waiting with open arms and zero boundaries. This is where you must wield your power with absolute, graceful detachment. When that message comes, or when they finally speak, let them sit in the discomfort of their own confession. Do not rush to reply. Do not send a paragraph of reassurance. If they need to explain, let them type it all out. Let them feel the weight of the silence on the other end of the line. Your silence right now is not a manipulative punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is the universe's way of forcing them to sit with the reality of what they almost lost. They need to see that the version of you they could take for granted is gone. The new you requires effort, consistency, and absolute transparency. And here is the beautiful paradox. If they are truly ready for you, if their feelings are as deep and real as the cards are showing, they will not be scared off by your boundaries. They will be profoundly relieved by them. They are tired of their own chaos. They are looking for an anchor, and your unwavering self-worth is exactly the anchor they need. In the days following this initial contact, expect a shift from chaotic energy to grounded reality. This will not be a series of late-night, emotionally blurry, drunken texts. This will be a serious, intentional conversation. They will lay out a tangible plan. They will show you, through concrete actions and not just pretty words, that the third-party interference has been neutralized. They will prove that they are no longer willing to let anyone else have a vote in your love story. However, you must hold space for one final, powerful possibility. You must be prepared for the chance that this message, this big news, is the universe's way of giving you final, absolute closure, rather than a green light to restart the relationship. Sometimes, the big revelation is simply the final piece of the puzzle that allows you to close the door with total peace. It is the moment you realize that you gave it your all, you held your vibration high, and they simply do not have the emotional capacity to meet you where you are. And if that is the case, Libra, you still win. Because you are no longer in the dark. The mystery is solved. The scales are finally balancing. You are stepping out of the purgatory of what if and into a season of profound clarity. You will no longer have to guess, wonder, or analyze. You will know. And with that knowing, you will be completely free to redirect all that beautiful, expansive love back into yourself, making room for the person who will never make you question their intentions in the first place. Whether this is a glorious new beginning or a peaceful, definitive ending, your assignment for the next 48 hours is to protect your energy fiercely. Ground yourself. Take a salt bath, meditate, go for a walk in nature, or simply sit in the quiet of your room. Do not obsessively refresh your screen. Do not ask your friends to analyze their social media. Let the universe do its work. You have done your part by holding your light, by refusing to chase, and by demanding the love you deserve. As we close this reading, I want you to take a deep, cleansing breath and feel the heavy weight lifting off your shoulders. You have been carrying this for so long, but the tide has officially turned. You are seen, you are chosen, and you are deeply, fiercely protected by the universe. Take what resonates and leave the rest. This is your unique journey, your specific soul contract, and you hold the pen to the next chapter. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, for trusting me with your energy, and for allowing me to channel this message for you. Trust your intuition, protect your peace, and get ready for tomorrow. The universe is moving on your behalf. I'll see you in the next reading.